Gentlemen,
Hey,
Start your engines.
damn. There you go.
We were just talking about Daytona for a second.
Daytona.
Yeah.
You guys
That was
stay up? I know you guys all stayed up for it. I know you guys did.
stayed up for what? The race?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
really excited.
Okay, fine. You know what? I embrace all sports equally. I guess you guys have certain specific. But I'm going to guarantee you that was the most exciting end of the race I've ever seen.
James watched the last 80 laps, guys. Just telling me. I stayed up on the whole thing. I sent you all the last lap there. I sent you all the crash at the end there. So,
well, anyways,
I tried. I couldn't make it.
it was supposed to be over like 8 hours earlier, and it got rain delayed. So,
very well.
Back at MI Sports Talk again for another week of talking sports here. We touched a little bit there on the NASCAR and the 500. We'll get back to that, but I think our first topic of the day is Michigan basketball and their comeback, first game back after COVID, playing Wisconsin last week, and looked like the rust was on them in the first half, but the second half they must have oiled them up and got them ready to go, because they were ready to play in the second half, and played like the old Michigan team that was pre-COVID.
Yeah,
played really well. I thought they looked a little slow there in that first half, a lot of mistakes, and Wisconsin played really well, shot the ball well, but it was good to see. What do you guys think? Any thoughts, Sam?
I was the expectation was, there's been anything for 3 weeks, that it was going to be a little rough coming out, but I was very very pleased with how they came out in the second half, and just they looked like they didn't miss a beat coming out in the second half the way they played.
I think they had to get elbowed in the mouth to wake up, and once that happened, it changed everything.
Yeah. Wisconsin, Wisconsin's no slouch, right? I mean, they were shooting like 60% in the first half. They play tough defense. Obviously, they bang you up a little bit, bang you around. And I think it just takes a while to get your legs back underneath. And like you said, maybe getting punched in the mouth a little bit. But they responded.
Yeah, they all started playing. I mean, they just you just feel it. Even though the big fella Hunter Dickinson didn't play the best, but he rebounded 15 boards, and he had another double and was freshman of the week. He came back right where he left off, being freshman of the week in the Big Ten.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be games like that, right? I mean, where you don't play well, you start out sluggish or whatever, but there was no panic. There's no panic anywhere, right? I mean, on the bench. Yeah. So that's good stuff.
Yeah. You wonder if there was a crowd there that maybe would Michigan have been able to pull that thing off with the loud crowd there yelling and screaming and the emotions. You wonder how it plays a factor in some of these games, but yeah, they did some good things. They really executed well in the second half, and defensively they kicked up the amps on the defensive end of the floor.
Sure did.
What's his toes? Transfer from Wake Forest there.
Oh yeah,
he dictates a lot of things out there. You don't see it, but he's really tough on the defensive end of the floor, and it leads to a good thing. His jumper wasn't falling, but he did a lot of other things well.
Still scored his 1,000th point for the career. Right?
Oh, did he?
All he needed was number one. He needed one.
Oh no, yeah.
I thought there was actually a cool video. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, great video.
Really awesome video. If you guys get a chance, it's Juwan kind of honoring him or recognizing, him for his career 1,000 points, and it was pretty cool.
Right? In the locker room afterwards.
Yeah, in the locker room. It's really.
Oh, nice.
I loved how the players responded.
Yeah.
It wasn't about Liver scoring 20 or somebody making a great play. It really was about honoring this kid who transferred here and just works his butt off. This is a really unusual, unique team. And man, are they together? And probably some of that has to do with COVID, because that's all they're doing is hanging out, and they do like each other.
Yeah,
but you could see it. You could see it in that video.
Yeah,
so clear. I mean,
yeah, they were really excited about him, and that was just fantastic. So, and obviously, the play with Smith getting elbowed in the mouth.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, they all were like, okay, that's how you want to play. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of liven them up a little bit.
Well, and then 2 plays later, I think it was, they're coming down on a break, and the same kid ran right up the back of Brooks and knocked him down.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, it was another play when you looked at it. Maybe something's up.
The kid's name, it's a kid takes all the charges. I can't think of his name now.
I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Question. Because this is like the COVID season, the asterisk on the scorecard of this year.
Yep.
Knowing that MSU is really faltering, in this point in time, how do they measure this? What do you think they would do? Saying how many teams had COVID weekends off or COVID games off? And then does that affect the decision about the outcomes of these things or not? No.
No.
State had it first, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, State had it and had 14 members of their program got diagnosed positive. I'm not saying they're sick, but they got diagnosed positive.
Yeah.
No, everybody's in the same boat with this one. And if you have an issue, and I'm somewhat concerned over the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. What happens if it's Thursday and you get 2 players tested positive and you're supposed to play on Thursday or Friday? They're not doing Thursday this year, but you're supposed to play on Friday.
Yeah.
Does that eliminate you from competition?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they do it any other way except to say sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's unscrupulous jerks out there, like the guy who cut down the tree at Auburn or whatever. They're going to go out and they're going to be sick with COVID and hang out around Baylor. Let's get Baylor tested positive so that they can't play. You sure as hell hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Out there.
Wow.
Yeah, hope it's all on the up and up fair square, but.
Well, after what happened with the shutdown for the last couple of weeks with Michigan, I can't have faith that there's not stupidity going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Hopefully they quarantine down there in Indiana and the kids are responsible and they do what they can to try to I don't know how you do it. I mean they did it for NBA, they did it for NHL. I mean obviously in those situations I think they're trying to duplicate the same thing for the NCAA tournament, just keep them all in one pocket. But
I got a buddy of mine who's a doctor. He practices down in southern Indiana, and he was telling me that they're sending crews of people into Indianapolis to practice, right? So they're getting things set up to be able to run the tests and move people around and keep the teams isolated from. So they're doing all they can. They're actually running through some procedures to kind of practice right now to make sure they're ready for these teams when they come in, which is a good thing, right?
You should.
Yeah, you got to do a rehearsal. I think you got to do a run through just in case.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing.
Breakout or whatever. Be prepped for whatever you got to do.
Let's say Michigan goes down to Indianapolis and plays the Big Ten tournament, and unless they have an unbelievable meltdown or have COVID happen, they will be playing the following weekend in Indiana, whether it's at Purdue or
one of the venues around.
Yeah.
And they get to the Sweet 16 and they're staying in Indiana, and they get through the Final Four and they stay in Indiana. So theoretically, they could be there for 4 weeks. There would be no reason to turn around and come home because all you do is risk exposure,
right?
By getting on a bus and accidentally being exposed to somebody. I mean, I guess that's a likely scenario if someone from the Big Ten goes all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You think about, I don't know the time frame, how it relates to college breaks or anything like that, but classes are going to be having to get, facilities ready for them to study, study area for them to do online classes or in their rooms or whatever. I think that's another issue that, probably they're trying to deal with also is how
I
to.
guess the question I would ask you, James, since you asked that question, is, you know, I think what I would ask is, why would they put an asterisk on it for college basketball? They didn't put it on it for football. They didn't put it on it for the NFL or the NHL or the NBA.
Yeah.
Why would there be an asterisk? Now, we all agree that this is a special circumstance here, and we've given Jim Harbaugh a pass.
Right.
Personally, I hate Tom Izzo with a passion, but you have to give him a pass. I mean,
Yeah.
look, you have to give, and oh, by the way, for the people that hate Krzyzewski, you got to give him a pass.
Right.
It's
All these guys.
yeah. So, will there be an asterisk on it? No, I highly doubt it.
Okay,
It'll
well,
just be known as the year of COVID. That'll be
Yeah.
known as
the year of the
COVID.
asterisk when it came to this, because in 5 years' time, when everything gets into some sort of new rhythm of normalcy, you're going to see a whole different dynamic going forward.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's hope so.
They'll be adapting somehow.
How long could it take? I mean,
we played a basketball game last night where the referees didn't touch the ball. They kicked it like soccer, and they wouldn't touch it, and then they put it down, and then they on free throws they kick it towards our player if they were shooting second. They're second in line, so our player's shooting the free throw, so they would kick it to her. She would bend down, pick it up, and toss it to the shooter every time.
We haven't seen
nothing like that. And then all the officials, even out of bounds plays, they'll just leave the ball on the floor and pick it up, and they have a little whistle in their hand, a little sound noise. They make the little noise with the whistle in their hand instead of they have their mask on all the time, so they don't take their mask off.
So it took 4 hours, right? It took 4 hours to play that game.
No, they're still moving along pretty good. About an hour and 10, maybe or so. We had double overtime, but I mean, most of them have been pretty much a non-touching. Don't touch. Like we threw it. We weren't thinking at the time the ball came to us. We tossed it to her, and they played it off their shoulder and they grabbed it.
See, that's
so a lot of different things like that.
But it's not consistent like that because we played 3 games and we haven't had any of that.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. It was at a different site than what we play at, but yeah, I mean that's it's different, no question about it. And the mask and all that. It's adapting, no question about it. But Michigan's playing. They got another one coming up here. They play tonight here against Rutgers at home, and then they got the Buckeyes. Really tough challenge on Sunday. That's their next 2 ball games coming up here tonight. I think Rutgers is a formidable opponent tonight. We'll see how it goes at 9 o'clock here. But
you see the line?
I haven't seen it. Wasn't posted.
9.
Again by 9, really?
I think the over/under was 135 or something.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty good. Because Rutgers isn't bad.
No, they're not. They're not a bad team. What is their record? Like 9-8? I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't know what they are record-wise, but
we should win this game. But
yeah. Back home, I think we're back in Chrysler Center.
Yeah.
So that'll be good for them. And then they travel down to Columbus on Sunday, take on a red-hot Ohio State team. So
it's gonna be a battle. And I don't know. Did Ohio State play yesterday or today? I haven't looked.
I haven't seen anything out of them. They might play tonight. I don't know if they play tonight or not. I don't know when that next game is. But it'll be interesting to see how they stack up against them. I know they're playing pretty well. I'm gonna look up here and see if I see them on there. I don't know. Oh yeah, Ohio State at Penn State.
Oh yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
-4.5 Ohio State.
Wow, Iowa's beating Wisconsin.
Iowa's beating Wisconsin.
Wisconsin has scored 8 points in the first 7 minutes.
Oh, they're starting after Michigan here. The girls are playing right now.
Yeah.
Michigan's girls are up 4. But they play it on Big Ten Network. So Michigan must be on ESPN, huh?
I didn't even know.
Fox Sports 1. Rutgers 12-7.
12-7.
7th place in the Big Ten.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
a good game.
Should be a good one.
Did you hear what the Big Ten? Supposedly, there's a rumor about next Wednesday. Michigan doesn't have a game between Sunday and it's either Saturday or Sunday next week. They have a week off.
Week off. Wow.
So there's a rumor that
Try to.
Big Ten is going to shuffle some games and either put Illinois in the middle of it or put Michigan State in the middle of it.
Really?
And of course, all the fans are clamoring for it to be Michigan State because it would be a home game versus playing 3 away games in a row. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to make up some. They're going to have to get out there and make some of these up.
Make up those 5 they missed.
They'll never
They
get
can
5.
make
I don't
up
see how
5.
they can get 5.
Yeah, I don't think they can make it.
Probably 2 or 3 at least would be nice.
Well, I did talk to Chris about it and said, what would you recommend? And he said, well, they should make up the Ohio State game. Ohio State, no, who did they miss? They missed Illinois.
Illinois,
They missed Northwestern.
Iowa.
And they missed Iowa. So they should make up 2 of those games at least. And of course, Illinois should be one of them. You got to play the best. I mean, it's kind of how you should do it. And it's on the road. I think Iowa's on the road too, Sam? I don't remember.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what that was scheduled like.
And then, they do this in hockey all the time. Why not do a Friday, Saturday or a Saturday, Sunday against State?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back-to-backers.
Put it away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like travel's an issue. You just get on a bus and go for an hour.
Yeah.
And that way you can get those 2 games in a couple of days, and it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah. It'd be nice to watch them play. They've already been off how many days, so
Yeah.
Has to fit somebody in there, that's for sure.
Well, that would give them 3 of the makeups of the 5, and that would go into 18 games, close to representative, and they will have played, some of the tougher teams. I'm trying to remember who they didn't play. They didn't play Northwestern, and it was Penn State. They didn't play.
Not the second
a
time.
couple of games that might have been easier games on the schedule anyway, but.
Yeah, that'd be big to get those in, but we'll see how they do tonight and how they do Sunday. See if they can stay hot and hold their spot. I think they're ranked 3rd, and Buckeyes are ranked 4th nationally right now. So
yeah, well, and Illinois is right there. I mean, I saw one ranking had them 5th or 6th.
Yeah, they're up there still. Yeah, there's about, I forget how many, 4 in the top 10 or what the rankings say. But Spartans obviously, they won 2, lost 2, and then it looked like they were playing well, but then I think they run into a buzzsaw there the last couple games.
That's who you play.
Well, yeah.
You play Nebraska every week. They look great.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Iowa put the hammer on them pretty sound there. And then
that was terrible.
That was I didn't see that one. I saw the final and I watched a little bit of replay on that one. And then Purdue, they were battling Purdue.
Yeah, that was a good game. Yeah.
Purdue pulled away.
Purdue looked terrible. I think Michigan, they played some pretty good defense, and Purdue looked.
Yeah, the defensive intensity was up for Spartans, no question about it. And a few of the old sets are back, and he's running some sets with the guys. And I think there's a little more, but like I say, the guard play is just such a hindrance for him that they just struggle. He's trying to improvise so much, and you never know with them. He can get hot, and man, they can get going, but
not with this game. I don't know how he can get hot. He doesn't have a player that can get hot. It's not like Bicklum's going to come out and put up 15 on Travion Williams. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they're fighting right now. They just showed the other day that the NCAA tournament might not have Duke, North Carolina, and Michigan State potentially, or Kentucky. I think it was Kentucky, maybe.
Yeah,
Duke,
North Carolina.
Kentucky, Michigan State, I think, were the 3 teams that they were worried about not getting in at all. Not making the top 68 or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But I know they got to play. Did I say they're playing? I forgot now.
Michigan State.
They got to play at Indiana here. What day? Friday.
And that's very much a bubble team right there. No, it's
Saturday. That's almost a must-win for them. Michigan State to beat Indiana at Indiana too. It's tough to play down there.
Indiana's 12-9, so it's a must-win for Indiana.
Has Michigan played Indiana?
No.
There's one of the other games right there.
That's one of the ones we're going to try to get. Because usually it's normal. We always play them. I know that. Yeah. It's like Wisconsin and them. You know what I mean? playing them all the time. And we talk a little bit about the Sweet 16, the tournament. Obviously, what do you guys think? You know, the number one seeds I think are pretty standard right now. I mean, everyone's got their bracketologies out there, and you know, obviously Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, Ohio State potentially right now the number ones. You
Okay,
know,
question on the table for everybody. You guys are more basketball coaches than me. Why does Gonzaga get a number one seed when they've literally only played one team
yeah,
a ranking? One.
Yeah.
And they play regularly against Pepperdine and St. Mary's.
yeah,
And they beat like BYU by 10.
yeah.
And they beat Pepperdine by 40. And now, when I've seen them play, they are really talented.
Oh yeah, they're very talented.
They look really talented. But
Mhm.
I'm sorry, go up against. Just to take Duke's schedule and play Duke's schedule.
Yeah,
Play them in the ACC, or put them in the Big Ten and let them play Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Penn State,
Iowa.
Rutgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not a number one seed. They're not undefeated.
No.
I mean, I think Baylor is phenomenal. Baylor to me by far is the number one team in the country.
Mhm.
They just pummel you to death. They play like Michigan and they're better. But Gonzaga, I'm sorry. As long as you don't play a representative schedule, it doesn't mean anything. That's like Western Michigan going undefeated and people saying they should be in the Final Four for football. Sorry. It's about who you play.
Right.
Being number one seed,
It's got to play a part in it, no question. But I know Gonzaga every year runs into the same issue, and then they get into the tournament. They wonder why they, you know. But I know other years, I think they tried to schedule outside their league and play some of the other conferences. I know he's tried to do that this year, obviously with COVID.
Right.
He hasn't had that advantage to do that, you know.
But he did.
Yeah.
Okay, he played Iowa. Okay.
Yeah, in Iowa, that's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, frustrating.
I agree with you. I think Baylor is the overall number one team. I think Baylor
They should be.
number one overall.
Yep.
Does Michigan fall in the 2 spot probably, or Ohio State, whichever one wins that game Sunday, or whatever.
No, whoever wins the Big Ten tournament.
Right.
I would think that Michigan or Ohio State will be neck and neck through the rest of the year. Michigan doesn't have that tough of a schedule unless they have to add Illinois, and it's the same thing with Ohio State. Their schedules aren't difficult. They could both go into the Big Ten tournament and run it right to the end.
Yeah.
And whoever would win that, if they haven't lost any more games, boy, I tell you, it'd be hard to keep them away from the 3 or the 2 seed.
Yeah. Oh, you look at like the other conferences, like you're looking at, you got Villanova ranked pretty high, all season long for the most part. They've been up there, and you look at ACC, it's like, well, I have Virginia up there a little bit because they're playing well, but not near the Virginias that they have been in the past. So they could be in the 2 slot, 2 seed with Villanova as a 2 seed. And you look at maybe a Texas Tech or a Texas or somebody out of that Big 12, Kansas is kind of down this year a little bit. They've been struggling. They're not the dominant team that they have been in the past. I think Texas is bad on them. Oklahoma and
Texas has been
SEC wise, you got Alabama down there. You got maybe Florida, some of those teams that come out of SEC, but Alabama's up there this year playing pretty well. Got a good team going down there in that section. So the bracketology will play out obviously in the next few months here. When we get down to the nitty gritty into March.
You still got a lot to go, right? A lot of big tournament.
We could forecast, right now for next year, but I mean, obviously you're looking at them right now and you're trying to decipher where people might fall on the lines, and these guys come out.
No way to know. You got a lot of conference tournaments coming up, and Michigan could lose 2 games between now and the tournament, and then not get to the finals and have 4 losses, and they could fall back to a 2 seed or even a 3, depending who you lose.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Illinois could go undefeated the rest of the way and win the tournament and be a 3rd seed. Not a 3rd seed, that's a 3rd number 1 seed.
Right. Well, that's where you run into it, where you got Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, all potentially being in the 2 slot, 3 slot with Michigan and Ohio State in the 1s and 2s. You're looking at Big Ten, very well represented in that. And that any bracketology you put together or find online, I think they're all up there pretty high. I don't know. I know Alabama's was doing well. I know Kentucky's usually up there, but they're down. I know Auburn's been pretty good over the years. North Carolina, Duke, all that. They're over there in that ACC. They're kind of down a little bit. The Pac-12, you got who's out there? You got Oregon maybe, or USC, or Arizona State's been highlighted a lot, but yeah. But like I said, Gonzaga up there.
Michigan missed Penn State, which you would think they would win. They missed Indiana, which you would think they would play well and probably win. They missed Northwestern, another game they probably win. They missed Michigan State, another game they would probably win, and they missed Illinois. So the makeups should be Michigan State because they're a rival.
Yeah.
Illinois because they're the best of that bunch, and maybe
Indiana.
Either Indiana, Penn State, Northwestern. I mean,
I think Indiana would be a good one to play.
I think it would, but some of it is the home and away thing, Pat.
Sure. Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
On the road, Northwestern was on the road, and the Illinois game was at home. Illinois was at home. Michigan State was at home, and Indiana was at home out of those 5. So they all have 3 home games out of it.
Yeah.
So, they probably should play one of the away games and play 2 of the others, and that would be Michigan State and Illinois. So that's my take. That's what I'd like to see as a fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'd like to see it. We could measuring stick for them, and it'll help probably moving forward. No question about it. But yeah, we'll see how they do tonight. Obviously then play Sunday afternoon is going to be a big day to watch. See how they stack up down there in Columbus. So
let's get through this one first. Let's get Rutgers under our belt.
There you go. Yeah.
Although it is a Michigan based sports show here, are we going to do the same kind of betting when it gets to the Sweet 16 or the Final Four?
Absolutely.
Oh,
so I'm going to.
I'd be more than happy to win and host you guys here. I would have no problem.
There you go.
Well, anyways, I am going to be paying more attention to this playthrough for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually. We'll have to have a little bracket for the Big Ten tournament and do a little wagering on that.
Yeah.
You still need to pay up on the Super Bowl.
Well, I still haven't heard the true winner.
I think we were all losers, but we're going to get together just to get together.
It's still being debated.
Got to step up here and make some determination.
We're under the review.
I think it's still under review in New York.
Sam, you were the counting guy.
We got to ask him.
The accounting firm.
Well, the final was 31-9. The final was 31-9, and no one was even close to the 31-9. Except who was closest to 31? Tom had 30. James had 36.
No, again, go back to the playback.
Yeah. I still got it written down.
I got a great idea.
All goes off Sam's right there.
Great idea. Call Sadler. Tell him we're coming to his place.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He won't let anybody.
It's still under the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. They're looking at
it. Exactly.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yep.
Here's the mulligan. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
James wants no part of that. Okay.
We wasn't any part of going to Bob's house either.
No, I don't do that. No.
I'd stay outside Nina's driveway.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe the garage.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure I'd even do that. I might stay out in the driveway. Yeah.
We're gonna go. I tried to look up some of the spring football. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be one-sided on Michigan and all that. But we did have some news here today on Michigan football as far as transfer portal, and we've had a few guys transferring out of the program, which is fine, whether it's the new coaching staff or whatever. But today was first day of spring football practice. I think, or this week was the first. The other day was first day of spring practice is starting for Michigan, so they get 15 days, just like all the other colleges get 15 days in the springtime to work on things. And obviously, last year they lost out on this part of the progression. But I know that they're starting the spring season. I'm not sure if they're going to play a spring game yet. I think a lot of schools are probably in that same boat still, but hopefully they get a spring game in. But Joe Milton decided to enter the transfer portal and moved on. Going to move on from the program, so take himself out of the running for the quarterback position. Any thoughts on that, guys? As far as the transfer portal or spring football kicking off, Sam or Tom? James?
Go ahead, Sam.
No,
50.
what's
Not
that?
you, Sam.
What's that?
What do you think about Milton, Sam? What do you think? Is it a good call for him to do that? Or
I
guess he's looking out for his.
Yeah, I'm obviously he saw something there and not feeling he's going to have a shot at it. But to me, it's, I don't like the whole idea of the guys, thinking they're not going to. I like guys that want to compete, right? I like guys that are going to want to look. I don't care who you bring in. I'm here, and I'm gonna give it my best shot, and I'm gonna win this job, right? And
Yeah.
it frustrates me to see these guys just fail even before the competition has started.
But
Yeah.
if you were Joe Burrow, where would you be today?
Right. I mean,
You're behind Justin Fields still.
Yeah, you never know. Look at Tom Brady. He came in as.
That was a completely different era.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's still the same result as far as he had to compete. He had to battle to get himself back in there. Whether he was battling Drew Henson or he was battling Brian Greasy or who was all there. I forget the other quarterbacks, but for some reason he persevered. And obviously it's luck. I mean, he got through. His competitive edge, his competitive nature, and that's what it is. It's these guys like, well, Joe Burrow, he's competitive. They didn't want to stay at Ohio State, whether he didn't like the setup there, he didn't like the competition, was Fields coming in. He's like, well, and then someone from LSU says, hey, come down here. We got openings for quarterbacks, and maybe it's one of his choices.
40 times to, Heisman candidate wide receivers, and you have a chance. I've always looked at this all the way back from when Chris was playing. The whole thing about coming out early. This is a training for a job, guys.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a scholarship to become a lawyer and a law firm comes to you after your sophomore year and says, you're the best debater I've ever had, leave school, we'll pay you $500,000, come and work in our firm. You're going to go, no, I want to stay in college. You go to college to build a career. That's what it's for. Would I like to see him compete? You bet I would. And my suspicion is he's going to end up somewhere where he's going to still have to compete, a little bit.
Well, because he hasn't proven anything, right?
Quarterback,
He hasn't proven anything.
No, he has not.
Right? I mean, it's not like,
he had one game against Minnesota. He played pretty well. After that, he didn't do anything, and I said it to you guys. I said his last two plays ever on the field of Michigan summed up what you could evaluate. Those coaches came in and said, man, we don't want that. He couldn't get a yard. He couldn't get a yard on fourth down. And he pulled up short on the play previously. It left us at 4th and 1 because he didn't lower his head and go. So, I mean, you look at that and it's like, as a coach, you're like, what? Is that the guy I want to be driving the truck? I mean, I don't know. Maybe he would change. I don't know. But they have time to sit around and wait. I mean, they got two other guys coming in that are one's there, one's coming in. I mean, it's like you got to go.
And one guy who played a couple games and got injured and really never proved himself, and a walk-on.
Mm-hmm.
So that quarterback room just got extremely light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're putting a lot of bag of bones in McNamara and the kid coming in now as a freshman. Obviously, that's what you're at. Unless you get someone else that he grabs a transfer portal guy, after spring.
Right.
That kid's there now. I mean, that kid's been there, and I think he was gone. And it said he's going as a grad transfer, so he must have graduated.
He did.
His grades.
3 years left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a real smart kid. Everything I've ever heard from about him is he's a real smart young man.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, you hate to see kids leave, but we lose, you know, some other guys that've been transferring portal. It's a linebacker, another, you know, they make a big deal about
A linebacker was a walk-on.
walk-on linebacker. You got another guy that was the brothers are going together, you know.
Did you hear where they're going? Did you
I
hear that
haven't
today?
heard anything, no.
Oh, the rumor is they're going to East Lansing.
Oh, really? Ah, interesting. It is
Well, that
close.
tells you that they're pissed off at Michigan about something. I mean, I don't know what happened, but something happened and pissed off the brother that was here, and the younger brother said, "Well, hell with that, I'm not going."
Mhm.
Yeah, it could be. Could
Just
be
like the
something.
Justin Bourne thing. Sounds like the same type of thing.
Oh, right, yeah. If they end up there, then yeah, no question about it. That'll be something that'll have to come out, I'm sure. You know, but hopefully, I mean, hopefully they get the spring practices in and they get a chance to evaluate and work on some things, and you know, a lot of holes to plug and a lot of new coaches to, you know, get to know as far as players and stuff on the field, and you know, and Jimmy Harbaugh is a new quarterbacks coach, you know, and you got all these other guys
I would
coming
like
in.
to see him get fired up like he was his first year and second year. I'd like to see him get fired up.
Oh yeah.
Guys don't compete, kick their butts.
Oh yeah.
Get them on the bench, sit them down. No more Shea Patterson stuff, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I think, you know, I think you just go with what you got. I think that kid came in last year. McNamara did a hell of a job, I thought, for a few games. I thought he showed a lot of moxie, you know, and the running backs are, you know, you lose Charbonnet, you lose, you know.
Yeah, a lot of moxie against Rutgers doesn't impress me. A lot of moxie against Michigan State would impress me, or against.
Oh yeah, well, sure.
Wisconsin, Penn State, Ohio State. That's where we need to see moxie.
Oh yeah, I mean that's for sure. But I mean, I watching him, you know, we came out of those games more impressed with him being in there. It's like, why wasn't he in there to begin with?
Yeah.
When you're talking about competition, battling, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Maybe they didn't get that with last year's spring battle, but you know, he definitely showed more when, you know, we were sitting here in week 3 or 4, whatever it was that he was playing. You know, so it's like, I mean, maybe this young kid they're bringing in now is supposed to be highly touted too, but you know, and you know, we're talking about Michigan here, obviously spring ball, but I tried to look up state. I didn't see anything on state spring starting online. I tried to find their spring.
I haven't seen the dates on them.
If they're in there, and I know they aren't always the same. They differ sometimes, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, it's obviously spring, you know, starting like that, and then they got, you know, a lot of these guys are getting ready for the draft, going to NFL. I was looking at my list here. I put on the list there talking about the mock draft, and I said we wanted to talk a little bit about the prospects and quarterbacks and running backs, and you know, my list at quarterback, obviously, you know, our top 5 quarterbacks. You're looking at Trevor Lawrence, obviously, is the #1 guy. You got Justin Fields. You got you know, a lot of guys there in that situation. I think I'm trying to find it. Linebackers, wide receivers. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are, you know, what do you guys think as far as your top quarterbacks? I don't know if you guys got a chance to look up any of the guys, but obviously Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, the guy there from BYU's coming out, probably the top 3, 4, you know, the 4 top picks are going to be possibly quarterbacks, you know.
Well, and I still think the kid from Alabama will go higher than anybody thinks. There was a rumor that circulated late last week or early this week about somebody trading to get into the middle of the first round, to get another pick in the middle of the first round to get Brown or whatever his name is. Whatever the quarterback's name is. But yeah, to get him. And you know what? I don't know that he's the typical prototypical, you know, new style NFL quarterback, but he's talented. He's really talented.
Yeah. Well, this guy, he's NFL's guy, just like they have the guys from ESPN, but this guy, I found him online. Trevor Lawrence 1, Justin Fields 2, Zach Wilson 3, Trey Lance from North Dakota State and then Mac Jones from Alabama. Those are his top 5.
Yeah, okay, so that, I mean, that says Mac Jones is a first round pick somewhere in the
Yeah.
first round, probably.
Yeah. All right.
That's his top 5. I mean, obviously you can't, and obviously Trevor Lawrence, you got to imagine him going to Jacksonville and being drafted number 1, Jacksonville. Now after that, I think people are going to be, jostling for spots there, maybe to move up and get a field.
Without any NFL pre-draft camp going on, I mean, they'll have a tougher time evaluating the kids. I mean, so they're going to email them a Wonderlic test and say, "Hey, take this." We'll see what the results of that are.
Yeah. Well, that Trey Lance is up and coming too. The kid out of North Dakota State.
Yeah.
He's an up and coming guy that a lot of people are getting high stock on. I think they're going to try to do a video of like a pro day at the schools. I think I have to watch the NFL Network because they'll probably get some coverage of it. But I would think that they'll get some stuff that I think those are your top 5 quarterbacks coming out. And then I looked at the running back list here. He's got Najee Harris out of Bama, Travis Etienne from Clemson, Javonte Williams, North Carolina, Michael Carter from North Carolina, and Trey Sermon from Ohio State. So 2 guys from North Carolina as their top backs. But they were interested the other day on the radio. He said something about Trey Sermon being on that list, and he's only had just that one, a couple games there that he was really well on. But interesting, those top 5 right there. If you're looking for a running back, which I think, Michigan or the Lions possibly could be looking for someone. I heard maybe mention of, I don't know about number 7, but that's a pretty impressive list of running backs right there. You got those 5 guys coming out.
Typically they don't go first round. I mean, you might get 1 or 2 if they're really, really special, but those guys tend to go in later rounds.
Yeah. They say Etienne from Clemson is a one-cut runner with exceptional speed, acceleration, and burst. He's improved as a pass catcher, the mold of a Jamal Charles and Chris Johnson. So, he's a possibility as a top pick. And then our receivers, we've talked about our receivers a little bit, but Jamar Chase, the kid that sat out last year at LSU, he's the number 1 receiver from LSU. Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith from Alabama, Florida, and Terrence Marshall Jr. from LSU. So 2 LSU, 2 Alabama guys, and a Florida guy.
Yeah.
So SEC heavy on the receiving core down there. The top 5 receivers are all SEC related. So I don't know if anybody else passed it, but they said that Michigan's a guy that sat out. They said he had a good Senior Bowl down there. So
hey, I just looked this up, and we were talking about the top 5 quarterbacks. I mean, is the kid from Florida coming out? Is Frank's finally graduating? He's got to be in his 9th year or something, isn't he?
Frank's is out, I think. But who's the guy that ran the show? I think he's coming back to Florida this year. I think he's leaving the kid that they had there.
Well, and then there's another kid that just graduated that I thought would be a top 8 or 10 pick, but I haven't seen his name anywhere. Brandon Peters,
Oh yeah, from Illinois.
Yeah,
Brandon Peters. No doubt about it. There with Peters, he did some good things down there in Illinois.
No, not really. He'll end up. You know what? To be honest, he has a chance to probably get drafted real late, or at least get a free agent contract. If Shea Patterson would get a free agent contract, Brandon Peters would.
Oh yeah.
Very possible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We got. It'd be interesting to see. I know we were talking about last week with the draft and maybe trying to come up with our mock draft or something. But I think Sam and I did it last year. We did a mock draft 1 through 31. We did the whole first round.
Yeah.
Once they come out with a solid, as it gets closer, we'll have a list of either one of the guys that works for the network. So we'll take a look at their list and see how close we can get to it, maybe as they were. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I know you talked a little bit about.
Let me ask a question. The whole idea of an early start of football practice or spring football practice. Is that kind of a precursor to like a cutoff date for all colleges to say, okay, practice is over, we're scheduling for the fall? No.
It's interesting. Schools will schedule their spring ball, their 6 weeks of practice, just based on some random thing. In this case, Michigan did not get any bowl practice this year. So that might be the biggest reason why they're starting early. They don't want to wait another couple weeks. They want to get practice in. Michigan State traditionally starts after Michigan. Wouldn't you say, Pat? They're usually after Michigan.
Yeah, I think they're usually 1 week after, or, they don't coincide.
Right.
It could be a week or two after, just to not overlap each other. And that way, when they run their spring games, they had individual time. Each of them has their own time. But there was a list of some of the other schools, mostly the South schools. Coastal Carolina was in there. I saw a list of some different schools that had started too.
The other thing too could be the end of a semester, and maybe Michigan's trying to start now so that the kids are done, go home for 6 or 8 weeks, and come back in the middle to late summer to get right back at it again. That could be something. It could be something as simple as that. But kids aren't in class anyway, so I don't know how that really means anything. So.
Right, exactly.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, and they got the indoor facilities. All of them have indoor practice facilities now, so the weather doesn't dictate when they can go and come or whatever.
That was the other reason I was asking the question too.
Yeah, they all have
think about that in the past. I mean, where did you practice when the weather was bad? So,
thank you.
Yeah. But it's a chance for each of them to evaluate. The new kids are coming in. They get the early enrollees now, James, that before they couldn't come in until June, but now they're enrolling in December, and so they're able to work with these freshmen now, high standard freshmen coming in from just January till beginning of the season now. So
it's almost like an advantage play. It's like it's advantaging the team to get ready for the real play.
Yeah. Michigan's got like 25 recruits for this year coming in, and 11 of them are already on campus, I think, or something.
Well, there's actually a 12th, but he hasn't enrolled yet.
Oh, is that
Xavier Worthy?
Oh, Worthy? Oh, yeah, that's right. He's coming.
Well, he's on campus. There was an issue with his transcripts getting transferred over. He's already done with high school, and something happened, and no one's talking about it. And is not a student at the University of Michigan yet, so he's probably hanging out and living with some of his boys up here, and I don't know what's going to happen. He's a good student from everything I've read. So
just waiting for the transcript issue. Hold up. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah,
he's supposed to be really good. So it'd be interesting to see how good he really is. But
yeah, a lot of these guys, James, they plan and they graduate right in December, right when their semester's over, and then they get out of Dodge and they go up to school and get logged in there and get going. So it's
as I said, they're starting their business career. They're starting they're moving on as quickly as they can.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, going from high school to college, if you waste 8 weeks of downtime with all the workouts and all the stuff you normally do, eventually you get basically lazy,
Push you a year behind. You can put you totally a year behind. You might come in and not play at all as a freshman because you physically can't. You're not stronger, bigger, faster.
Exactly. So it's really performance made through constant exercise.
Yeah, you learn the plays. You get a chance to get the playbook in.
Learn the playbook, right?
You get 5-6 months of playbook time. You wouldn't get coming in June. You get 2 months. So it's really benefited the players, and you wonder. You hope it's not going to get any worse. I mean, this is a good window.
It'll be an exciting 2021.
You'd hate to see these seniors finishing eventually one day in September, and being there in September before they even start their senior year, and how bad will it get, but you hope that this is it, the early signing period they have now and all that kind of stuff. So
thanks for explaining.
Yeah. And now we go to NASCAR. We got that NASCAR we touch about. I know Tom didn't watch much of it, but it was exciting.
I saw it on ESPN. I saw it on Sports.
On ESPN.
That was it.
The great race, the beginning of to me, it's the beginning of spring because all of a sudden Michigan started playing Tigers. I'm going to talk a little bit about Tigers here because they reported the to camp today. I think first pitchers and catchers reported to camp yesterday, Wednesday.
Do the Pistons and the Red Wings have a team this year? Because I haven't.
I know they both lost last night, and the Pistons are up 25 last night in Chicago and lost by 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Pistons are up, and the Wings lost 2-0 to the Blackhawks. So they both were playing teams from Chicago. So we went 0-2 against Chicago last night. They're off tonight, so they get to lick their wounds. But apparently,
they're still getting paid well. They're still getting paid very well.
Yeah, the trading block. We got our guy up on the trading block. He's not going to be a Piston. He's not going to play anymore.
I thought you were talking about Draymond Green.
Is Draymond on the trade?
Oh yeah. They sat him down the last couple games, and he was pissed.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing they're doing
with the treat players that way, and
that's what they're doing.
Barkley chimed in, and Barkley said, "Draymond, shut up. You're not worth that much."
Oh, jeez.
They asked Barkley why he complained about that type of thing when he was a player. He says, "Because I was a great player." Draymond
Was.
Yeah. Well, Golden State's revamping that whole setup out there. They had to run there for a while, and now, obviously, losing Thompson and all that again. But yeah, what's his name? What's his toes for the Pistons? Blake Griffin, right? Blake Griffin. They sat down. He wants to trade. So they're trying to find someone to pick up his salary.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, the big fellow we had a few years ago traded to Cleveland. Drummond. He wants out of Cleveland, so Cleveland's trying to dump his contract too. So be interesting to see. These two ex-Pistons are both on the going to be in the news here coming up. We're going to new teams again. So
yeah.
But obviously Blake Griffin, we got him at the end of his career. His knees were kind of shot. He wasn't the highlight film that he once was. But obviously the Pistons that route. But it's tough. I mean, the Pistons played well. I mean, they've won some games. The one kid's scoring like crazy. He had 40-some points last night.
Right.
For the Pistons, but they've won some big games against good teams, but they've also turned around and lost games they shouldn't lose. Like last night, they shouldn't have lost that game at that many points. And you lose in the end by 3. So the Red Wings are battling. They're playing hard, and they're just young, and they got some older guys there trying to help them out a little bit. They're playing better, 2-0. They lose to the Blackhawks. They're starting out shoot teams. They beat the snot out of. Over the weekend, they played Nashville and beat Nashville Predators, which we outshot them. At one point, we were out shooting them 26-9. Red Wings had outshot them 26-9 somewhere in the second or third period, and they beat them 4-0 or 4-1. But that was unheard of because usually it's the other way around. The other teams out shooting the Wings, but the Wings are starting. When you look at the stats lines, you watch the stat line on the Wings. They're starting to outshoot the other teams. I looked at last night, even losing 2-0 last night. They outshot the Blackhawks 29-25 or something. The save percentage, power, everything was in their favor, but they just lost. So I didn't.
That's a great starting point, Pat. And when you look back on the Scotty Bowman days, they had to start by being a very offensive-minded team.
Yeah.
And how many times did the Wings have 40 or 50 shots in a game to an opponent having 20? And sooner or later, one of those or two of those are going to trickle in the net. You got to shoot. You got to shoot the puck. You can't score without shooting.
Right.
Maybe that's
put the puck on the net.
Bringing some of that back. And
they're definitely starting to play a little bit better. So I'm going to give them a little every so often. Give them a little a look. But. I was reading today, the Tigers obviously going down to spring training down there in Florida. And, they talked about the pitchers, right? And Hinch, our new coach for the Tigers, the old coach for the Houston Astros, led them to the World Series. He said his approach, he was on the ticket today or yesterday talking about it. Him and the new pitching coach that they got from Michigan. And Tigers pitchers last year surrounded a 5.28 ERA in the first inning last season.
Mhm.
fifth worst in the majors. That included MLB high 16 homers in the first inning. He started the season opener. Matt Boyd put the first 5 batters he faced on base. Boyd wound up with a first inning ERA of 7.50. And the Tigers wound up allowing a first inning run in 20 of their 58 games. So that was a statistic that the coach is like, well, we got to improve on that, and we got to get, and then you get that, and then you got what was the other one I saw something about?
Why did the Tigers not sign Fernando Tatis to a $340 million deal?
14 years, $340 million.
He's only played 145, 150 games total in his career.
Yeah, 340 million for Fernando Tatis. He's pretty good, but as he jumped up Jenny's, he broke the bank.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What's that a season? 340 some.
That's some major numbers right there.
Oh, geez, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, Hinch also talked about Tiger pitchers first pitch strikes. I don't know if you guys watch Tigers at all. That first pitch that they throw.
Never do they throw a first.
57% of the time last season was a first pitch strike. Third worst in the majors. Both Boyd and Spencer Turnbull, 59% for Boyd and 56% for Turnbull were among the bottom 25 pitchers in baseball, and then who threw at least 50 innings. Tariq Skubal and Casey Mize weren't any better at 57 and 55. So yeah, you're looking at them as far as the emphasis of pitching and those kind of things. It's that's probably where it's going to start down there, especially with the pitchers and catchers coming in and having a new catchers in the lineup there for them. And
who's the pitching coach? You know who it is, Pat?
It's the old Michigan guy.
The Michigan coach?
He was the pitchers coach for the Michigan.
Okay, good.
Ritter.
No more Lloyd McClendon type guys. I mean, let's get
hitting or pitching?
Okay.
Hitting or pitching, Tom?
Pitching. And then McClendon wasn't a pitching coach.
Yeah, we got a brand new guy.
Old school.
He's supposedly the best guy on the market. He was at Michigan. I had it, and I don't know why I didn't. I thought I saved it on my phone, and I didn't.
Save it. I was just curious because that's obviously you have to have a great pitching coach with a staff that's having those kind of issues, and not that the manager or the team can't affect some of that, but if you don't have a coach that's in their ear every day,
exactly,
you just got to have it. You got to have it, and you got to have a great bullpen coach that can manage that down there and make sure those guys are staying focused.
Oh yeah. That's the biggest thing, and it's just if they work on the pitching, it's got to start with pitching, obviously, right? And then your hitting, you're going to come along with the hitting, but it's exciting to hear that they're down there, and it's exciting to know that we got the baseball possibly coming here in the near future. So as the college basketball ends, we'll be able to roll right into baseball.
James, I don't know if you heard this. The Major League Baseball is debating on how long their season is going to be. I don't know if you heard it, that too. They're talking about a start to the season that's different than normal. I think 150 game schedule. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, they shortened it by so many games, and then I think they moved it 1 month forward.
So how many more years are we going to go with aberrations in sports teams and sports seasons? And that's why you can't have an asterisk on any of them, because it's an evolution. That'd be like saying the teams that played 128 games in the past have an asterisk on them.
Yeah. In the end, as we discussed a few times now, is baseball going through its matriculations of aging?
Right.
And maybe that's more or less a sign of the times for that generational shift away from what makes people want to go to the game.
Right.
Like they could do a lot of things like shorten it to 7 innings, not 9.
Right.
There's a lot of ways they can fast the game up, speed it up to the point where it's exciting or inciting.
They did that last year. They played 2 7-inning doubleheaders. Doubleheaders were 7-inning games.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know if
sitting
we're
on-
going to do that this year, but Pat, that would be a great idea.
Mhm.
As you go forward through the evolution of baseball, you could do
Mhm.
more double headers, but just make it 7 inning games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
true.
Who knows?
Thing,
That's
you're
pretty
in a situation where, like we talked about, I think a few meetings ago with Sam, that the fan base for baseball is the average age of 55 years old.
It's
You
aging
know,
out of existence.
Right,
you know,
right.
They need to get that. They need to get that younger. They need to bring that down to get people in the 30s. I mean, but I looked up the statistics, and the baseball's numbers are through the roof for youth playing it. The youth plays it. They just don't watch it, I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
You
now
know?
with the increase in sports playing at high school level for soccer or youth leagues, outside of school, do you think that's stealing the energy of baseball?
Well, it's probably soccer and a lot of other things. Obviously, most of the high school sports now, it doesn't matter if it's volleyball. They've got, all year round volleyball.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All
So,
indoors.
they've got it in most sports now that it can be all year if that's what you want to focus on. Baseball was one of those sports where, okay, well, I played football or I played basketball. Yeah, I'll play baseball during the summer, but now you're playing AAU and you're not playing baseball.
Yeah, you're begging for players to come.
Yeah.
This and in a lot of ways the XFL, which has come and gone,
Yes.
I think twice,
Yeah.
or whatever. It's a model example of people who are wanting a faster game of football or wanting a more aggressive game of football.
And that's what you have today. That's what you look at the NFL today compared to 20 years ago. It's dramatically different.
You got it. And I think that's what is needed for baseball for sure. The same changes.
How do you change that? Yeah, in football you can change it because you have running quarterbacks, and you change the length of a game in general by when you start and stop the play clock. You've reduced the amount of plays in football to 60 or 65 offensive plays a game versus 75 to 80 that were out there in the past.
Yeah.
So, but how do you do that in baseball? If you figure that one out, you could be a millionaire. Okay.
They've shortened the games so much. Like even in college, like we'll get there and that play clock has gone down. They don't stop the clock when you go out of bounds. So either stop it for a minute and put it back on.
And set the play clock and off they go. Yep.
And you think about it, that's where before it was like, they tried to speed up because you're getting 3.5, 340 games, Now it's rarely, I think those games, it's like you inside, sometimes it feels like it might be long, but it seems like even watching on TV, it's like, man, we're already at halftime, so they're doing things like that where it's like, man, what happened in that first half? It's quick.
That's a great evolution. And I don't know how you do it in baseball. I mean, how many times have we gone to baseball games and it ends up being a 3.5-hour game?
At that point, waiting. Yeah.
I mean, you can watch an entire football game in the pros plus and be done in 3 hours. And even in college, in general, they don't go beyond 3 hours.
Right.
So baseball can't be that slow.
And I've always said that.
Back to your comment about first strike pitches. If most batters, good hitters, would look at that and go, well, I'm going to take a handful of pitches. Well, that's an extra however many pitches in 9 innings.
Yeah.
Probably 40 or 50 pitches. How long does it take to throw a pitch? Well, just add those minutes up, and the next thing you know, you're at a 4-hour game, which is where we're at today.
Well, that's where the evolution of the pitch count came in, or like, how many pitches did you throw? Well, like I say, the batters are a little more patient. But here you look at, everyone's like, you don't mess with history of baseball. All the historians for baseball say, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. I talk with Bob about it all the time. Oh, you can't. I go, why not do 2 60-game seasons? And then you got, because Tigers are out of it. They're 30 games out by June. It's like, who wants to watch them?
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea. It's a really good idea.
Cut it to 60s or do 65 or whatever. That gets you to 100 and then play your playoff game. At least reset them. Your first half plays your second half, whatever, and maybe go to a 3-2 count. The guy's got a swinging.
Well,
I know they do it in the Catholic League.
Go back to the softball idea. It's a 3-2 count to start.
3-2 count to start, or everybody's 1-1. You're 1-1 and you start 1-1 and you go. But I don't. It's the historians would go berserk. They'd be like, "What? You can't do that. No, we got this is history. All the history books would have to be redone. Well, then that's, I mean, before 2021, this is the record book. And now after 2021, I mean, it's just something that's going to be, it's just, I think it's got to be something in that situation where,
I'm going to say this, and because I'm being sarcastic, we'll just ask Abner Doubleday, and maybe he'll text back, a reply. Oh, I forgot he's super dead,
Oh yeah, he's super dead. But that's the thing. If you're going to have ratings drop, or you want to get fan base back in there. I know the kids play 3-2 counts here at the younger level. Why not play 3-2 count at that level? Or they tried to put a runner on second base in extra innings last year. Oh, heaven forbid! Why would you do that? You can't do man on second base.
Hold on, two things: 7-inning gameplay, and whoever reaches 9 first, it's called mercy, and then that's it.
The Titans might not ever play a game the whole 9 innings or 7 innings. I mean,
yeah, you could have a mercy ruling. I guess you could put the mercy rule into effect. That would shorten games up. Otherwise, you're sitting there watching like,
wow.
Wasn't there a game last year?
I'm sure the Major League Baseball Union would not like that at all.
Actually, it's the commercialization that's killing it, because every play is a commercial break on TV for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and that drags.
Well, yeah, and football in particular is like that. Baseball, they don't let them break in the middle of an inning unless there's an injury or whatever.
Right.
13 innings, it's always 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. And
get your ads in.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
But they tried last year in spring training to time the pitchers, so they had so much seconds to get rid of the ball. They limited how many trips to the mound for coaches. They put only 5 trips to the mound, so they had to strategize that trips to the mound to visit the pitchers. And then
that also tells you something, Pat.
Yeah,
they won't change how much time they take between an inning because that's sponsor money. But they will have the managers. Oh, you can only go out there once an inning without changing a pitcher, or the pitcher's got to throw a pitch every 20 seconds.
If they make the change, they did it last year. If they make the change, the pitcher has to face at least 3 batters. So you can't go back out and get another guy.
I like that. I didn't know
that was one. They had to at least stay for three batters, I think, is the ruling on that. But
wow.
So we'll see. I don't know.
They're changing them wrong. They're changing the rules wrong. I think they should go for it. Yeah.
I was playing Wisconsin right now. I was up 41-27. And then the Michigan girls.
I was up 41-27. They were up by a handful earlier.
Michigan girls lost to Indiana tonight, 70-65.
Yeah, what's her name? Was in foul trouble the whole game.
Yeah. They were a bad one. I just had it on there. I was kind of peeking up at it, but they lost 70-65 here. That's too bad. But Ohio State, Penn State's getting ready to kick off here.
Oh, you'll love this. Take a look at. Can you see it's too much light? Sorry.
Right.
The Michigan Rutgers ESPN predictor, 81% pick for Michigan.
81% for Michigan. There are no dummies.
Yeah, I think.
In NASCAR, in the 500 the other day, they had Logano winning that race until the race and they got spun out.
Wow.
And, the third place guy had a winning. First and second place knocked each other out.
Yeah.
And the third place guy skates through for the victory. So
go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure. Like I said, the last lap was the most hilarious in my eyes, although it was pretty effective. The fact that they waited so long around the track 3 times before they started making the final moves, and then became a 3-lane race in the end.
Before they made,
I gotta run. My dinner's sitting and waiting for me.
Yeah. I'll let you go. Thanks again, guys. MI Sports Talk.
Go Blue.
Go Blue tonight. And James will be in touch.
Yes,
we're working on that. We're working on that scroll. We're working on that scroll time. We not have it.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you, boys.
You guys.
Good talk.
Bye.